Chapter 13 Model a Child. A while ago, I took my 4-year-old son Colby to an Italian restaurant for lunch. It was a beautiful autumn day, and as usual, my young son was full of energy and joy. We both ordered pasta for our main course and then started to enjoy the freshly baked bread our waiter had brought. Little did I know that Colby was about to teach his father yet another lesson in the art of living. Rather than eating the bread whole as most adults do, Colby took a different, far more creative approach. He began to scoop out the warm, soft part of the bread and left the crust intact. In other words, he had the wisdom to focus on the best part of the bread and leave the rest. Someone once said to me at a seminar, children come to us more highly evolved than adults to teach us the lessons we need to learn. And on that fine day, my little boy reminded me that as so-called grown-ups, we spend too much time focusing on the crust of life rather than on all the good things that flow in and out of our days. We focus on our challenges at work, the pile of bills we have to pay, and the lack of time to do all those things we need to do. But our thoughts do form our world, and what we think about does grow in our lives. What we focus on will determine our destiny, and so we must start focusing on the good stuff. In the weeks ahead, make the time to connect to your more playful side, the child within you. Take the time to study the positive qualities of children and model their ability to stay energized, imaginative, and completely in the moment, no matter what might be going on around them. And as you do, remember the powerful words of the Lew Rosten, who observed, "You can understand and relate to most people better if you look at them, no matter how impressive they may be, as if they are children." For most of us never really grow up or mature all that much. We simply grow taller. Oh, do be sure we laugh less and play less and wear uncomfortable disguises like adults. But beneath the costume is the child we always are, whose needs are simple, whose daily life is still best described by fairy tales. Chapter 14. Remember, genius is 99% inspiration. The celebrated inventor Thomas Edison is well known for his statement, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." While I believe that hard work is essential to a life of real success and fulfillment, I think that being filled with a deep sense of inspiration and commitment to making a difference in the world is an even more important attribute. All of the great geniuses of the world are inspired and driven by their desire to enrich the lives of others. When you study their lives, you will discover that this desire became almost an obsession for most of them. It consumed them and occupied every cell of their minds. Edison was inspired to manifest the visions he saw on the picture screen of his imagination into reality. Jonas Salk, who discovered the polio vaccine, was inspired to help others from suffering from this dreaded affliction. And Marie Curie, the great Nobel Prize winning scientist, was inspired to serve humanity through her discovery of radium. As Woodrow Wilson said, "You are not here to merely make a living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand." How inspired are you in your own life? Do you jump out of bed on Monday mornings, or do you simply lie there with a sense of emptiness flooding through your body? If your level of inspiration is lower than you know it should be, read a good self-help book or listen to a motivating audiocaster program. Attend a public lecture by someone you admire or spend a few hours studying the biography of one of your heroes. Start spending time with people who are passionate about what they are doing in their lives and dedicated to making the best out of life. With a healthy dose of inspiration, you will quickly raise your life to a whole new plan of living. Chapter 15, Care for Temple. A few months ago, I had lunch with a colleague in the speaking profession. As we discussed the things we did in our lives to stay focused, balanced, and at our peak amid the demands of our busy schedules, he made a powerful point. Robin, he said, many people regularly go to a church or temple to stay grounded and centered. I'm a little different. I go to the gym. That's my temple. He added that no matter how busy he is, at 5:30 p.m., he closes his office and makes a daily pilgrimage to his gym to run a few miles on the treadmill. Nothing can stop him from taking this time to ensure his health and happiness. My friend's observation made me think of a saying of the ancient Romans that I quoted in my first book, Mega Living. Mens sana in corpore sano, which is Latin for in a sound body rests a sound mind. It also made me realize that our bodies need to be treated like temples and considered sacred if we hope to live life fully and completely. Regular exercise will not only improve your health, it will help you think more clearly, boost your creativity, and manage the relentless stress that seems to dominate our days. And research has proven that exercise will not only add life to your years, it could add years to your life. One study of 18,000 Harvard alumni found that every hour spent on exercises added 3 hours to the participants' lives. Few investments will yield a better return than time spent on physical fitness. And remember, those who don't make time for exercises must eventually make time for illness. In my own life, I have set the goal of swimming 5 times a week. There is something special about the renewing power of swimming that I cannot begin to describe. I wish I could say I achieve this goal every single week, but I can't. Yet having such a lofty objective keeps me focused on how important staying in peak physical condition is for my overall well-being and to the quality of my life. Without fail, every workout in the swimming pool brings the same results. I feel energized, serene, balanced, and happy. And my exercise sessions also bring me something that I feel is truly priceless. Perspective. After my 40-minute swims, challenges I may be struggling with seem smaller. Any worries I have become trivial, and I find myself living fully in the present moment. The act of caring for my physical temple reminds me that life's greatest pleasure are often life's simplest ones. Chapter 16, Learn to be Silent. William Wordsworth sagely observed, when from our better selves we have too long been parted by the hurrying world, sick of its busyness, of its pleasures tired, how gracious, how winning is solitude. When was the last time you made the time to be silent and still? When was the last time you carved out a chunk of time to enjoy the power of solitude to restore, refocus and revitalize your mind, body and spirit? All of the great wisdom traditions of the world have arrived at the same conclusion: to reconnect with who you really are as a person and to come to know the glory that rests within you. You must find the time to be silent on a regular basis. Sure, you are busy, but as Thoreau said, it is not enough to be busy, so are the ends. The question is, what are you so busy about? The importance of silence makes me think about the story of an old lighthouse keeper. The man had only a limited amount of oil to keep his beacon lit so that passing ships could avoid the rocky shore. One night, a man who lived close by needed to borrow some of this precious commodity to light his home, so the lighthouse keeper gave him some of his own. Another night, a traveler begged for some oil to light his lamp so he could keep on traveling. The lighthouse keeper also complied with this request and gave him the amount he needed. The next night, the lighthouse keeper was awakened by a mother banging on his door. She prayed for some oil so that she could illuminate her home and feed her family. Again he agreed. Soon all his oil was gone and his beacon went out. Many ships ran aground and many lives were lost because the lighthouse keeper forgot to focus on his priority. He neglected his primary duty and paid a high price. Experiencing solitude for even a few minutes a day will keep you centered on your highest life priorities and help you avoid the neglect that pervades the lives of so many of us. And saying that you don't have enough time to be silent on a regular basis is a lot of like saying you are too busy driving to stop for gas. Eventually, it will catch up with you.